Imagine standing at a checkout counter, holding out your card, and realizing the cashier's hands are trembling so badly she can barely scan your items. You ask her why, and the answer she finally gives changes everything you thought you knew about courage, kindness, and doing what's right. Stay with me till the end. You won't believe what happened when one single dad decided not to stay silent. Before we begin, if you believe kindness can change lives, please like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories so we can keep sharing true and inspiring tales. It was late evening at a small-town grocery store in Portland, Oregon. The store wasn't busy, just a handful of customers pushing carts lazily down the aisles. Daniel Carter, a 36-year-old single dad, was in line with a few groceries. His 7-year-old daughter, Emily, was beside him holding a box of cereal like it was the most precious thing in the world. When they reached the counter, Daniel noticed the cashier. She looked about 23, maybe 24, was struggling to scan the items. Her name tag read Sophie. But what caught his attention wasn't her name. It was her hands. They were shaking. Not the kind of shaking you get from being cold, but the kind that comes from nerves, fear, or something much deeper. Daniel placed the milk on the counter and watched her fumble with the scanner. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked gently. She gave a small smile, the kind that says, "I don't want to talk about it," and mumbled, "Yeah, I'm fine. Just a bit tired." But Daniel wasn't convinced. He had been through too much in life to ignore signs of someone hurting. As a firefighter for nearly 10 years, before he had to leave the job to take care of Emily alone, he had seen fear in people's eyes. He recognized it now. He watched her try to punch in the serial code, her fingers trembling so badly she had to backspace twice. "Are you sure?" he pressed softly. "Because it looks like something's wrong." Sophie's eyes darted briefly toward the manager's office. A glass room on the far side of the store, and then quickly away. She shook her head. "It's nothing, just a long day." Emily, in her childlike honesty, tilted her head. "Are you cold? Daddy can get you his jacket." Sophie gave a small chuckle that didn't reach her eyes. "No, sweetie, that's very kind, but I'm fine." Daniel's gut told him she was hiding something. He wanted to push further, but he also didn't want to embarrass her in front of other customers. So, he paid, thanked her, and started to walk away. Yet, something in him wouldn't let it go. Halfway to the exit, he turned around and saw Sophie lean against the counter for just a moment, as if trying to steady herself. Then the store manager, a stocky man in his 40s with a permanent scowl, stepped out of his office and barked something at her, in a low but sharp tone. She stiffened instantly. That was the moment Daniel knew this wasn't about tiredness. He went back to the counter, waiting until the other customer had left. "Listen," he said quietly, leaning in just enough so Emily wouldn't overhear. "I've noticed you keep looking toward your manager's office. If there's something wrong, you can tell me." Sophie's lips parted, then closed again. "I really shouldn't," she whispered. It's nothing I can talk about." Daniel lowered his voice further. "I'm a dad. I've seen enough to know when someone's in trouble. I'm not going to walk away without making sure you're okay." For a moment, she looked like she might cry. She glanced at the manager's office again, then at Daniel. Her fingers tightened around the edge of the counter. Finally, in the faintest voice, she said, "It's him. He harasses me." Daniel felt his chest tighten. "Harasses you?" Her eyes glistened. "Comments touching my shoulder when he walks by. Standing too close. Saying things no one should ever say to someone at work. I told him to stop once and he cut my hours." Daniel's jaw clenched. "How long has this been going on?" 6 months, she whispered. "I need this job. My rent's overdue, and I just can't afford to make him angrier." The weight of her words hit Daniel hard. He looked at Emily, who was blissfully unaware, humming to herself as she played with the keychain. He knew what it was like to feel powerless. He'd been there after his wife passed away, when bills piled up, and every day felt like a battle. He took a deep breath. "Sophie, you don't have to deal with this alone." She shook her head. "Please don't say anything. It'll just make things worse." But Daniel wasn't the type to stand by. Daniel didn't confront the manager right there. Not with Emily present and Sophie already so shaken. Instead, he told Sophie he'd be back, then took Emily to the car and called his sister to watch her for a couple of hours. When he returned, the store was quieter. Sophie was still at the counter, forcing a smile for customers. Daniel waited until the line was gone before walking up again. "I know you told me not to get involved," he began, "but I can't pretend I didn't hear what you said." Sophie's eyes widened in alarm. "Please, Daniel. I'm not going to start yelling at him in the middle of the store," he assured her. "But I know the law. I know there are ways to make him stop. and I'm willing to stand by you while you report this. Her lips trembled. I'm scared. I know, he said softly. But courage isn't about not being scared. It's about doing the right thing anyway. After a long pause, she whispered, "What if no one believes me?" Daniel leaned in. "Then they'll have to deal with me. I've seen men like him before, and they get away with it because people stay silent. Not this time." Slowly, she nodded. Together, they went to the break room, where Sophie shakily called the company's HR department. Daniel stayed beside her the entire time, his calm presence giving her strength. She described the harassment in detail, naming the manager and explaining how her hours were cut when she resisted. The HR rep promised an investigation and told her she wouldn't have to work her next shift until it was resolved. When they walked out, the manager saw them together and frowned. "What's going on here?" he demanded. Sophie's voice shook, but she stood a little taller. "What's going on is that I've reported you." The man's face went pale. You can't." "I can," she said, surprising even herself. "And I did." Daniel stepped forward just enough for his presence to be felt. "You're done intimidating her? If I hear you so much as look at her the wrong way again, you'll have more than HR to answer to." The manager sputtered but didn't reply. As they left, Sophie exhaled shakily. I can't believe I did that." "You did?" Daniel said with a small smile. "And you're stronger than you think." She looked at him with gratitude in her eyes. "Thank you for not walking away," he shrugged. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change someone's whole world. Later that week, Sophie called Daniel to say the company had suspended the manager, pending a full investigation, and HR had offered her extra hours at a different location. Daniel smiled when he hung up. Emily, overhearing part of the call, asked, "Daddy, is she okay now?" "Yes, sweetheart," he said, pulling her close. "Because sometimes you just have to stand up for someone, even if you don't know them well. If this story touched your heart, remember, kindness is more powerful than we think. Even a simple question like, 'Are you okay?' can change someone's life." Please like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories so we can keep sharing these powerful moments of compassion with the world.